YouTube channel in for fucking ever. So let's be real. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Let me bring this down a little bit because it is down. How are we doing today? And if this is your first time here, welcome. If this is your many time here, hello. And essentially what we do here on these Wednesday live streams is essentially more of a interactive type of stream. So let me know if you're dealing with anything in the chat. We will try to address some things necessarily to get yourself going. One of the things that we are going to talk about is some of the stuff that I use to essentially help me with my ankle recovery. As some of you may know, I have 14 damn screws sitting in this ankle right here. Somebody broke my ankle while I was playing hockey. And some of the things that some people ask me and say, Nick, how the hell did you recover so quick? Or what the hell did you do? Well, A, having the knowledge of an exercise physiologist is essential. But B, there's a lot of different modalities, there's a lot of different tools, there's a lot of different things that I did that I think you could use as well. Because I've been getting a lot of messages, whether or not you are following me from YouTube, whether or not you're on Instagram. I get so many messages from from people that say, "Hey Nick, like I just suffered this fracture, or I just got a bad sprain, like what the hell?" And a lot of times we think like life is over for us. Let me know in the chat if you've ever suffered any type of fracture, any type of injury. If you've ever tried to recover from said injury, it's fucking tough, right? It's tough. And so one of the things that I want to help you out today is maybe you are still have some of those lingering effects. I want to show you some different tools and some different things that I do on a daily basis to help me, because I tell you what, I don't know if you can see it right here, but there's always like a little bubble that be popping out of my damn skin right here, and that is the muscle protruding out of the plate. And so when I say stuff for the ankle, it's because I live with it every single day. So first things first is, if you've ever seen, and I know you have one, right? One of these Theraguns. Now, the reason why I always like to start with this is because we'll do a little preface here, is that in my in-person business, I have something called a recovery service. So recovery service, essentially what I do is I have a Theragun, I do recovery boots, we have all these different modalities, but we do yoga, we do Pilates, we do 20 minutes of yoga, 20 minutes of Pilates, and 20 minutes of these recovery tools. Now, the reason why this is so effective is because some people just look at this gun and say, like, they just kind of, drill it all over themselves. But I want to teach you why this is so important. Now, the reason why this gun is important, maybe you guys might know, because I know we got some smart people in the chat, is the fact that we're trying to promote blood flow to that particular area, right? We're trying to promote blood flow to that particular area. So for me, as I was sitting there with my ankle being a little wet noodle, as it was just sitting there atrophying away, the only thing that I could do to get blood flow to that area was something like this, right? So being able to, and one of the things that I hope, I don't know, I'm going to be sitting there doing like this, but when you're doing any of these like massage guns or anything that revolves compression therapy, is essentially what this is that we're trying to bring the blood flow back to the heart, right? So especially like if you're right here, you always want to go down towards the heart. You never want to just keep going up and up and up, because you're trying to promote blood flow to the heart. It's going to make it a little bit easier. So if you're somebody who's dealing with any type of ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, one of the very first things I recommend, now these are expensive, right? I don't want to say that this is a cheap investment. I think this was like $300-400, but it is the best money you'll ever spend, because I've had this for, I don't know, I'd say 7 years. I've probably used it for thousands of hours, and it still works the same way. So get yourself a good one. And the reason being is that it's going to help promote a lot of blood flow, promote a lot of healing. If you don't have a massage gun, I highly recommend going to like a Best Buy or one of those places that sell them and test it out for yourself and see if you can essentially handle it. Because some clients are like, Nick, I fucking hate that thing. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. But it's something that's a little bit less than less. If you've ever done a foam roller, right? If you've ever done a foam roller to kind of release some of that tension, this could be very difficult. This is a little bit easier, and you can kind of control the tension. So I highly recommend, if you're dealing with any stiffness, you're dealing with any sort of just really anything, right? I take this traveling. If I'm going on vacation, you damn well believe that this Theragun's coming with me. It's coming with me this month. So I highly recommend it. So for me, I always wanted to get some blood flow sitting like this, bringing it back into my leg. And I highly recommend you getting something like that as well. And for me, having an ankle, I don't want to show you my feet, but we'll keep my socks on. We'll save you the horror. But right here, I don't know if you can see right at that arch of your foot. So I have flat feet, right? And this is specifically for my people with ankle or plantar fasciitis or just really anything that's going on with your foot. If you get your foot and you bend that big toe back, and I want you to press down right here. And you can do this right now if you're watching this. I want you to get your big toe, and you can do this for any foot, and I want you to pull it back into extension, and I want you with your other hand just papulating and seeing right here that tendon, that muscle that goes all the way down your foot. How tight is that? How tight is that? Is it, when you press down, is it like, holy shit, Nick, that is, what is going on there? I want you to test that. Let me know in the chat. So find that, right? Go to your big toe mound and then bring yourself all the way down. And then maybe once you find that tension spot, I want you to bend your foot down and back, down and back. And I want you to see if it gets a little bit better as you start to go back. Now, when you start to bring this foot into extension, you start to realize, or your big toe into extension, what you start to realize is that your foot is starting to actually articulate a little bit better. Now, why is this important? Nick, why the hell am I sitting there massaging my foot? Well, when you go to walk, I want you to think about this. When you go to walk, what is, and especially somebody coming from an ankle injury, when you go to walk, what happens? Look at my big toe, right? Ow, as it just cracked. That's usually when we walk, that's what happens, right? So if you think, if that part is limited, if you're only doing this, you can only get your heel off the ground because your toe is so damn stiff because it's been sitting in a boot or a shoe or whatever. That's a whole nother thing. You realize that could be the problem of why this isn't bending right. It could be the problem why your knee hurts, why your hip hurts, right? So start with the damn big toe. You start with your big toe, and this is why we're going to build it all the way up. This is why, and this is the stuff that I had to address, right? This is coming from somebody who has 14 damn screws and had to learn how to walk again. All the stuff that you see is, I had to relearn how to do all that stuff, right? So when I'm telling you that the big toe was one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had, because I was like, I'm doing everything right, I'm doing the balance, I'm doing that stuff. The big toe is actually the first thing you should focus on. And I wish somebody would have told me that in the beginning. And if anybody's dealing with any ankle or knee problems, the big toe is going to be the biggest issue. And the reason why I want you to look at that is I don't know if I have, let me just double check. Do I have one of my shoes here? I think I do. Let me see. Let me get one of my shoes over here. And one of the things that I really want you to think about is when you look at the bottom of your shoe, right? And this one, I've been wearing the hell out of this one. It's one of my UFOs. Is that I want you to look at the bottom of your shoe. I guess let me get some shine right there. Where does it wear? You see that right there? See how it's wearing right there at the big toe? For me, that's good, right? For me, that's good. That means your gait is in a good position. That means you're actually pushing through with the big toe. But if you look at your shoe and you see it all worn down right here on the side, if you see your shoe and it's all worn down there on the side, that means whenever you're walking, you're leaning like this, right? So when you're taking that step, you're leaning. And if you're leaning, what's happening? You're putting so much damn pressure on the lateral malleoli, as we'll call it, and that's what it's called, that you're affecting your whole ankle. You're affecting how it goes all the way up to your knee. You're affecting how it goes all the way up to your hip, up to your back, up to your spine. And that's just how it is, right? So I want you, one of the very first things, maybe you're not even dealing with ankle pain. You're like, Nick, I'm just here because I like your live streams. I'm not even dealing with any ankle pain. I want you to look and see what's going on with that shoe. What's going on with your shoe? Is it worn down at the big toe or is it worn down on the side? And that's going to give you a lot of feedback on what the hell is going on, because once you start walking again, or once you're being able to start applying some, I don't know, we'll say pressure or weight. I don't know if you saw my story yesterday on Instagram, was whenever I first got cleared, here's a crazy story. When I first got cleared to walk again after my ankle injury was a Friday. That Saturday I had tickets for a festival, a music festival, that I bought 8 months before the injury. So as soon as I was able to walk again, unfortunately, I went to a music festival with a boot and walked on it. It wasn't the smartest thing in the world, right? It wasn't the smartest thing in the world, but that's the power of painkillers. But I wish at that point I was working on my big toe, because a lot of times this is what happened. I was dragging this leg like this. Some of you are already doing this. Some of you may even know a family member who walks and they shuffle, right? It's almost like they're ice skating. They're ice skating their whole way, right? Or maybe they have slight, or maybe, you know, it's a hard step, right? It's like a monster step. When we look at this, you have to look at, even if this is you, or maybe this is a family member, you have to look at what's going on with their feet. Are they actually lifting their heel? Are they actually lifting their heel? And now that we kind of established the big toe's importance, right? You need that extension, right, in both legs, because when you heel, boom, you step. This is gait patterning. We talked a little bit about this last week. I don't want to go too much into it. If you want to look into it, I did the same. I did a interactive live stream last week about it. But once you start moving up the ladder, as I like to say, once you start being able to move up the ladder, the slant board, this is something for anybody with knee, anybody with hip, anybody that's dealing with any sort of discomfort. The slant board could be, the game changer. I need to be doing this more often, to be honest. Is for this ankle, right? Now that we talked about how the extension for, especially this one's broken, I got a screw that goes all the way through. I can't essentially push that leg as far as I can with this knee. See how much further I can push without the heel coming up with the right leg? Look at this one. Stops right there. So for me, I have to find this end range, and this is what's going to be hard for most people, right? For most people who are, dealing with some sort of injury, you're going to have to get yourself to a point where, like for me, for instance, this part kind of hurts, right? Like this kind of fucking sucks. Like I'm not going to lie, this kind of sucks. But this is the difference in people who are, whether or not you're watching this on Instagram, whether or not you're watching this on YouTube, is that you gotta find a place of slight discomfort. It's like what I say in yoga. You gotta find a place of slight discomfort, because your body has to adapt to that, right? When you're overcoming an injury, or you're coming back from an injury, or you have some sort of surgery that you're dealing with, you know, when you go to PT, a lot of that stuff sucks. I'm staying here because it feels good. It's my captain pose. It sucks, right? Because it's like, damn, this hurts. I can't do this. This is really difficult. But it should be difficult, because your body has to relearn those patternings. If it's easy, it's because your body started to learn how to counteract it. So I want you to think about that. If you're dealing with a knee, you're dealing with an ankle, you're dealing with a hip, what movements are very difficult for you? Just think about that. What movements are very difficult for you? What movements suck? If you're dealing with a knee, sometimes it's going down steps, right? The impact of going down the steps. Some of my clients, they go down the steps backwards, right? Some go backwards, like what the hell? But that shows you what you need to work on, not necessarily what you need to avoid, because the thing that you are avoiding is the thing that you actually need to do. It's weird. It's weird how that works. So for instance, for me, I can do this. I could do plantar flexion all day long. But when it goes to dorsiflexion, it doesn't work. So that means for me, I need to be doing this. It sucks, but I need to be doing this more often. If I go any further, it feels like the damn screw's gonna shoot out and hit you guys in the damn camera. But I gotta continue to do this. Now, if I do this with the other leg, it's so much easier. I don't even really get that pressure or get that stretch. So you have to realize that's not going to be as effective. It's going to be beneficial, but it's not going to be as effective as it would be for my injured ankle. So having a slant board is going to be very essential. Why? Because when we go back to that walking patterning, right, I'll show you from this side, not only as we're building up, as the ankle starts to lift off, look at that knee, right? Look at that knee. See how far it is over the toe? And this is just me walking, right? Me taking a step and having to swing that leg all the way over. That is the same thing as this, right? Look at that angle of the knee over the toe, right? If you think about that, right, when you're stepping, essentially when you're doing this, you're not just doing it just because, you're doing it because you want to be able to walk a little bit better. See how that's the same angle? So the slant board is very effective. We do have one on the Amazon store. You can check that out. Link in the bio. I think I make 50 cents from all my purchases. You would think, Nick, you got 130,000 people on your Instagram, you'd be making some money off of our Amazon store. So we make like $5 a month. So holler at everybody that buys the booty bands off the Amazon store. You're paying for my Prime membership, and I appreciate you. So if you ever want to buy a protein shake for us, go to the Amazon store the next time you buy your batteries, and yeah, maybe find something on there that you might like. We got it all curated for you. But with that being said, now you might be doing all these damn exercises. You're like, Nick, what the hell? I'm doing these exercises, you wake up, you're sore. And you're like, I don't want to just keep going. I don't want to keep going. Well, that's where I think these single-handedly, these things behind me, are what saved my ass. And I'll be the first one to admit that. And the reason why I say it saved my ass, because I feel like it saved some of my clients who I've worked with. I had a guy who was my dentist's husband. He dealt with a trimallolar ankle fracture. Actually, it was bimallolar. And whatever happened to him was he went to PT and his ankle was purple. We called him Bluefoot Mike. If you've been here in the community for a while, last year I was working with a guy we called him Bluefoot Mike. That's what he called himself, not what I even called him. So with Bluefoot Mike, and when I say that, his foot was blue. Now, if you've ever dealt with blue foot or blue ankle, this essentially is saying that you are not getting blood flow to that area. Now, what the hell did we talk about with the Theragun? It's bringing blood flow to that area. Now, with the recovery boots, right, you can get yourself into here and you zip your legs up. Now, you could do these at maybe at some events. Some gyms have them, but I want to explain this for a second. Let me just turn this on. I don't want to be in these all day long, but essentially what you're doing here, right? Some people see me do this and go, Nick, what the hell are you doing? So what this is actually doing is getting air starting at the toes, right? Because believe it or not, you actually have two hearts. You have a peripheral heart in your leg that is pumping blood up to your heart whenever you are standing. Now, Theragun or Therabody figured, not just them, but they figured out that if we can actually compress that a little bit, it's going to actually work a little harder and it's going to bring blood flow to your area. And then when it brings blood flow to your area, right now it's compressing from my ankles and then it goes up to my calves, all the way up to my quads. It holds there and then it releases. Now when it releases, all new blood comes down into my legs and it recirculates all the way back up to my heart. Now it does that for about a half hour or whatever. Now if you think about what all that does, you might be thinking, Nick, you lost me. Essentially, we're just trying to bring new oxygen into the legs, which is going to promote healing. So that's what I want you to think. When you have these compression boots on, essentially what you're doing is you're promoting blood flow locally to these areas. So if you ever go for a long run, or like yesterday you do a max lunge or squat, you put these on, it's going to be, you're going to get out of here and be like, holy hell, where have these been my whole life? If you're somebody who suffers with knee pain, maybe you're like, holy hell, I got clients who are 75 years old that I have in here. I also had clients who are professional athletes that get in here, and they both experience the same results. And the reason being is because this shit works, right? This shit works. And the reason why it works, and this is why I say this is one of the best things that helped me recover, was because it allowed the blood flow to these areas. Now, for some, you can adjust the I guess the pressure that this is doing. I have this shit maxed out, right? I have it maxed out, but I want you to go through a whole cycle before I turn this off. You can see it's about right here. It's gonna come up here and it's gonna hold, and you can hear it. It's gonna just kind of press itself all the way out. And when that happens, you get more oxygen. Now, when you do that, that's why I highly recommend if you go to a gym to get one of these. Now, again, this stuff is expensive, right? This stuff is expensive, but what is your health worth to you, right? What is your health worth to you? Now, I have this stuff because this is part of my business in person, so luckily I have access to it. But as a normal general population person who's just focusing on their health, should you have these at your house? Probably not. But if you wanted to optimize yourself and just to get yourself and actually take control of, your issues or your pain, this could be an addition that could save you. Who the hell knows, right? It may be a couple years of your life, just like anything else that we do. It's like taking vitamins. I always say these things right here, right? The loop bands, these compression boots, the ball, the kettlebell, these are all tools that are going to help you in life, right? And whatever it is that you want to do, you want to get faster, you want to get stronger, you want to get out of pain, whatever the hell it is, these are all just tools for you to optimize your health. Some people say biohacking, but I hate that word. People biohack. What the hell are we talking about here? If you want to actually just live a better life, right? Now this is compressing my legs all the way up. As you can see, like this is, like it's pretty damn tight, and as it should, right? But you'll hear it release. And once it releases, then I'll be able to shut it off and get back to my regular scheduled programming. But you can't move in these things. Like, look at this. And it just inflates or deflates. And then it would start the whole new cycle up. So you could do that for 15, 20, 30, 60 minutes, however long that you want to do that for. And the best part is, yes, you get some crazy designs on your legs, but when you get out, you feel refreshed. You feel ready. You feel extra. And so I really recommend, if you have access to any of that stuff, that get yourself access to that. Get yourself going with that. Now, if you guys have any questions, let me know, and you can comment. If you're on Instagram, we're live on YouTube. Well, we got some people here on YouTube. Holler at me on YouTube. I see you on YouTube. It's been a while on YouTube. So anybody that's tuning in, long time no see, I appreciate you. Oh, you are, I cannot read that. That seems, is that European? I have no idea. But how we doing on Instagram? If you have any questions, let me know, because I want to show you this next thing that honestly I have no clue how to use. This is, and I did a video on it too, which is kind of funny. So this right here is a smart cupping device. So if you've ever done cupping, this is a cupper, right? So if you've ever seen more like traditional medicine, Eva, how we doing today? I tried calling you last week. Where the hell were you, kid? Where the hell were you, Eva? I'm gonna call you out. So with this thing, you hit the button, and you can see it's got this little, right? And so you just, I guess technically, right? You put that on there, and it is a cupping device. As you can tell, is it actually suctioning? I don't know. Probably not. Probably shouldn't do it with that. But, it's got the whole thing. So you could use a lot of this. Now, let me know in the chat if you've ever used cupping therapy before. This is something new. I really, to be honest, they gave us this, and I don't really know how to use it. We did a video on it, but I'll tell you what, I don't know how to use it, and it's not really for me. I'll stick to the stuff that I know how to use, but we got two of them. So we got them. We out here with them. So if you got any questions, holler at me, let me know. And especially when we think about ankle stuff, right? When we think about ankle, we got recovery, we got the boots, we got the Theragun, right? We have different stuff to be able to utilize to help yourself out. Now, how does your exercise work? How does your fitness routine look like? What do you have to do in order to actually start seeing some damn results? Well, the very first thing, and I always, and you're probably like, Nick, you say this all the damn time, is you have to learn how to get up from the ground. Now, I want you to get one of these knee pads, or you can get something different. Now, if you remember us talking about the big toe, how I want you to do this is get your legs in a train track position. And you know damn well we're going to work with the split squat. But that leg's got to be back. And I want you to focus on keeping that big toe down and in. And then you stay in this position. And you feel that stretch in the big toe. It should probably feel uncomfortable. But when you come up, you push through that back toe. And then when you come back down, you might hear some cracking, you might hear some popping, but I want you to get affiliated essentially with doing that. Oh, what do I say? Had cupping down on me after a really intense workout 7 months ago. It was interesting. Yeah, see, it was interesting for me, to say the least. I think it gave me a huge bruise. I actually did a video on it on my YouTube. So my people on YouTube, you actually got the video. But I want you to think about this, right? If you're dealing with ankle injury and you really start to get cleared for weight bearing, or you're dealing with knee pain, this is the first thing you got to do, is you got to keep that heel up, and then you got to sink down, keeping that bend, and then you push through and you come all the way up. And you want to feel that in your glute, you want to feel that in your heel, you want to feel that in your toe, you want to feel that everywhere. But the thing is you want to be able to utilize that to get yourself up, because this is where a lot of people, whether or not you're dealing with ankle issues or knee issues, is where you end up going wrong. The reason why is because when you go down and you try to do that movement, you're always like, Nick, lunges suck. When your lunges look like this, right? That's not how you do a lunge. You got to turn that heel up and then go forward, right? Think of your elbow, think of your knee as a hinge on a door, right? It's a hinge on a door. When you open up your door, it opens and it closes. That's what it wants to do. That's what it wants to do. Your knee wants to open and close. It doesn't want to just do all this other crazy stuff. Yes, it can do that, but it wants to just open and close. So do what it wants to do, right? Just makes more sense. Now, with that being said, you have a couple different options. Now, you have to realize that ankle, you have to start doing things barefoot. This is why you see me exercise. I have socks on, or I'm barefoot. Reason why is because you have to be barefoot in order to grip the ground. It's as simple as that. You gotta wake up those intrinsic muscles in your foot. If you don't know intrinsic, just a little bit deeper. And so when you are doing your exercises, from here on out, if you're dealing with any knee pain if you're dealing with any knee pain or ankle pain, it's gotta be barefoot. It's gotta be barefoot or with socks on. And when you do that, you're gonna feel like when you do this on carpet, you're gonna feel a little less imbalanced. That's by design. We want that so that those fine twitch, those intrinsic muscles start to turn on again. Because if you are somebody who is sitting in a boot or sitting in a cast, what's gonna happen is you're gonna end up losing a lot of that muscle function. And the older we get, the less muscle function we have. So we have to realize that when you're here, one of the easiest things that you can do is you start with something simple. So my ankle is the left one, right? That's the one that has all the hardware. So what I like to do for balance stuff, very simple, is, tree pose, you could do that. But I like to get like an 8-pound weight. We lift this leg up and we go around the world. 1. And I want you to press through with that big toe. Actually, I probably should do another video on this. I haven't done it in a while. Where you go around the world and then you stop and then you go around the world. And you really just aim for a particular time, right? Because what you're doing with the weight is you're having it go from side to side, giving yourself weight distribution. Now, if you think about that, weight distribution is going to be something that's going to help you turn on those muscles. This is going to be for any side, right? Even if you're dealing with hip, glute, knee, whatever the hell, doing these around the worlds is going to help not only with strength, but with balance. So something to really consider whenever you are doing your exercises. And of course, you have the band. So I just want to save this for last because I think everybody sees me use these damn bands, but the bands are your damn rescue plan. Why? Because when you use these, you can not only, you can do these just about everywhere, but you do your gas pedals, right? We know all about the gas pedals, right? You do this, your banded gas pedals. But what happens whenever you have your feet out like so, or maybe get yourself standing up, right? You have yourself standing up, and then now you have to turn on the glutes. Or now whenever you have yourself in a position where you have to now add a little bit more muscle engagement to get yourself healed. This is the good thing about the resistance bands, and this is the thing that I wanted to talk about is you have, let me scooch my ass all the way over here, is you have a choice, right? You have a choice, you have a decision, and the thing is whether or not you're dealing with pain, whether or not you're dealing with stiffness, whether or not you're coming back from an injury, whether or not you're coming back from whatever the hell it is, you have a choice. Do you stay in the pain, bitching about it, or do you go ahead and do something about it, right? I just showed you a whole bunch of things that I did to help me recover from my ankle injury and my ankle fracture using the slant board, using the bands, using the Theragun, using these recovery boots, using this stuff. All these things don't really matter unless you actually go ahead and want to do it. And the reason why I say that is you can have access to every damn thing. You can go to PT, you can go to OT, you can do whatever whatever therapy it is. But if you actually don't have a why of why you're doing it, why are you going to PT? Why are you doing these things? Is it just to heal? Well, what the hell? You need to be deeper than that. You won't want to get back. So find yourself a why. Once you find yourself a why, whether that's just, for me it was I wanted to get back to helping my clients. I wanted to get back to running my business. That was a big enough why for me to go ahead and do all these things every damn day. So I want you to think, what is your why? And then really attach your exercise, your recovery, whatever the hell it is that means something to you, to that why, and go ahead and get it done. Simple as that. So, if you got any questions, holler at me, let me know. I will answer them. Other than that, thank you for tuning in.